Hello, welcome to my YouTube channel on culture, foreign policy and societies in times of change. I'm Kalesnikowa. It's great that you're following the next talk today with the special guest, Veronika Tsepkalo. The ones who are following my YouTube channel and all the talks, especially the English one, they know that I was concentrating on Belarus for some of the talks. Belarus got very close to my heart, and it's an incredible example for a European country in times of change. Veronika Tsepkalo is one of the three faces of the national democratic movement in Belarus, together with Svetlana Tichanowskaja and Maria Kalesnikova, who's in prison now. They succeeded. Three women succeeded in bringing together an unprecedented number of people to protest against the regime that violates human rights, that falsified presidential election and uses brutal violence against its citizens. Veronika, I'm very happy that you found the time to talk and to meet exactly one day before the Freedom Day. Hi.
Hello, Karen. Thank you for inviting me. It's nice to be here.
Veronika, I will start with the Freedom Day. Freedom Day, it's the national holiday. It's a day where you remember 1918, the opposition. And I want to ask you, thinking about now the 26 years of Lukashenka, the President Lukashenka being in power, why the Belarusian people stood up after such a long time last year in 2020 and decided to fight so hard for their freedom?
Thank you. It's a very, very good question. And I would like to start from, as you said, like Lukashenko, he has been a president for the last 26 years. He managed to build a system where not a single political opponent of his can survive. If you're in opposition, if you have an alternative point of view, you are going to, in Belarus, you're going to end up either in the prison or in exile. In Belarus, there are no any political opposition parties in the parliament. The only person who makes a decision is Lukashenko only by himself. Within 26 years, our GDP falls each and every year. The salaries of Belarus people still do not reach, the average salary does not reach $500 a month, which Lukashenko promised for the last 10 years. And of course, his attitude towards people, his mean attitude towards people, because it's hard to believe, but the president of Belarus, he calls our people different mean names. Even within this last presidential campaign, he called us prostitutes, I mean, our trio of girls. He called us pigs, he called us sheep, he called us thieves, very, very mean and bad names. I mean, like, when you listen to the president of the country, former president of the country, because we cannot say that he is an acting president, and he humiliates the people each and every day. And especially when the situation with COVID hit our country, and the first citizen of Belarus died. It's a very honorable man. He's an artist. He was an actor from Vitebsk, one of the regional cities in Belarus. Instead of, some supporting words for his family, because the family lost their loved ones, he started attacking this person. He started to attack this person only because he died of COVID. And then he denied the COVID itself, this COVID in Belarus. He said, like, there is no COVID. He suggested all Belarusian people to drink vodka, to drive the tractor and just to take a sauna. And he was insistent there is no COVID, there is no virus in the country. And the people were dying. And the government, the state did not provide any help to Belarusian people. I mean, the schools were open. The parents had to go to work. We were all working, The kindergarten was open, cinemas, shops, everything was open. We were the only country in Europe which did not have any lockdown whatsoever. And and the people relied in Belarus. You have to realize that we pay 50% of the taxes. And when you pay 50% of the taxes each and every month, you expect when the situation like this hits your country at least provide you any kind of support, which was not the case in Belarus, which did not happen in Belarus, because Lukashenko, he spends our money, our taxes, on his palaces, on his private jets, on his ladies' wing, on the militia forces, on the law enforcement agencies, but he never spends the money, he doesn't spend a penny for the people of Belarus. So combining all these factors, attitudes towards people, the deteriorating economic situation, the situation about COVID, the fact that he has been in this place for 26 years, I think Belarus society just burns. That's why this year was completely different if you compare it to the previous years in Belarus history.
What has been achieved since August? I mean, the protests, they started from the very beginning and are still ongoing, but there was a harsh winter and people were jailed. A lot of people, they are in jail. So what do you think has been achieved?
A huge project, a huge progress has been made in Belarus. First of all, we can say for sure that we all witnessed the birth of the Belarus nation, because before this presidential campaign in Belarus, every time when Belarusian person would travel abroad, we were also always associated ourselves not with Belarus, but with Ukraine, either with Ukraine or with Russia, because nobody, even in Eastern Europe or in Western Europe, in the United States, very few people knew about Belarus' existence. Even I spent 5 years in the United States, and every time I was passing the passport control, at the passport control, the guy was looking at my passports and was asked, keep asking me the same question every time I pass the border. Belarus? Where is? Somewhere in Africa? It was like this, And this year, last calendar year, we witnessed, first of all, the birth of the Belarus nation. We realized that we are one nation. We realized that we have a huge solidarity, because Belarus people, we demonstrated the solidarity in COVID. We demonstrated the solidarity when our people were put in the prisons, when the people were tortured, when the people were beaten up, when the people were raped, when the people were killed. We realize that we are not alone. We received this huge international support. We received the huge support from Belarus people who are living abroad now, because we didn't know that there are so many Belarus people who live somewhere in different countries, but who still really with their home country, who is really worried about the country, who really ready to support and provide moral support, financial support to Belarus people who still live in the country. So I think we made a huge progress. At least we know that most of the population of Belarus, the majority of the population of Belarus, we want changes. We don't want Lukashenko to stay in the power any longer. We are tired of him. We are tired of humiliations. We are tired of his orders to kill innocent people. And within these 7 months, as you said, 34,000 people were imprisoned. 34,000 people, which is an absolute record for any European country after the World War II. And we are number one. For example, if you look at the data, statistic data, for 100,000 population, we have 343 prison people, and we are number one in Europe for putting women in the prison. And we are ashamed of this situation in our country, and all of us will want to change, because we understand that this cannot last in any European country of the 21st century. And once again, we don't want to leave our country. I don't imagine myself and my family living abroad. I want to come back home, but I want to return back to the country where I feel safe and where I feel that my kids, when they grow up, they will not be seeking or looking for another country for the better life.
Now, thinking back 1 year ago, when it all started, I mean, it was prior the elections. The election took place 9th of August. but the campaign started before. You three women, you got on this international, first of all, Belarusian stage. Bring us back to the situation. Did it start with a mission, or it happens by instance? So what were your feelings at that time?
Well, actually, I was in the campaign. The campaign launched May 8, 2020. This is the beginning of the campaign, presidential campaign. I was in the presidential campaign from the day one because my husband, he was running as a candidate for the presidency in Belarus. And within this campaign are three strong alternative candidates: Sergei Tichanowskaja, Viktor Babarika, Veronika Tsepkalo, my husband. They were denied to get registered for this campaign, even though we did provide all the necessary information in order to be registered, because according to Belarus law, under Belarus law, if you want to be registered as a candidate for the president, you need to submit 100,000 signatures. It sounds like a last century, and I agree, it is a last century, because we live in the century of information technology when we have e-signatures, etc. But still, we need to collect 100,000 physical signatures of the citizens of Belarus. All of these three candidates, they met this requirement. All of them, they submitted the signatures. But like what happened, Lukashenko gave an order to imprison Sergei Tichanowskaja at the end of May. Then he got rid of another candidate, Viktor Babarika, which is in prison with his son right now. And then they falsified the two criminal cases against my husband. So basically, they eliminated all the men. They got rid of the men. And before these elections, I never met Svetlana. I never met Maria. We, three of us, we never were in the politics. Life put us in this position, because I'm coming from the business. I have a business background because for the last 10 years, I've been working for the huge international IT company. Svetlana, she was a housewife because she was raising the kids, she was taking care of her family. And Maria, she lived for the last 11 years. She has been living in Germany, in Stuttgart, and she is a musician. Three of us, we never had any political background, and for us, we did not have a chance even to meet each other, to see each other. So when the men were eliminated from this race, we made the call to Svetlana, we made the call to Maria, to Viktor Babarika's headquarters, and we just proposed to get together, to get united, because we understood that only when we're together, we can achieve better results.
Who got this idea to get united?
Say it again, please.
Who got the idea to get united, to join the forces?
Well, actually, my husband, he gave a call to Svetlana Tichanowskaja. We had several conversations before the final decision final decision of this election committee whether to register these people or not. So before this decision, we had two conversations with Svetlana, and after we received negative result that my husband was not registered as a candidate for the president, even though we, as I said, we complied with all the requirements, he made a call to Svetlana once again, and he said he's ready to support Svetlana because we're fighting, all of us were fighting with the evil, with the dictatorship in our country. And then he made a call to Viktor Babarika's headquarters as well, my husband. He made a call, he had a conversation with Maria, and he shared his idea that we need to stay together, we need to get united because we fight with one person. And in a couple of days, there was the first meeting in the office of Viktor Babarika when we sat, all of us, all of the headquarters people, we sat together, we discussed the conditions under which we are going to get united. We get united only under three conditions. Number one, to announce a new president, like presidential elections, and to release all the political detainees. And now the third one is just to investigate the crimes against the humanity, against Belarus people, which was committed by law enforcement agencies. So talking about these 3 points, we decided to get united, and the first meeting was at Viktor Babaika's office. Probably you saw the pictures of the first day when we got together, we made the picture, and it was really, we did not expect that we get this kind of support when the people saw the pictures of 3 of us.
And how your husbands, they look on this, what happened, that you three women became the, let's say, the 3 faces of the national opposition. Are they proud of you? How they are commenting on that? I mean, Tichanowskaja, he's in prison still, but what they commented?
My husband, he's very proud of 3 of us. I'm sure Sergei Tichanowskaja, he's very proud of Svetlana. I'm sure that Viktor Babaika, he's very proud of Maria Kalesnikova. But once again, I would like to underline that 3 of our headquarters, we have the joint, objectives, the joint purpose. We want to have a new country, we wanted to change the country which we are living in, it's our motherland. 3 of us were born and raised in Belarus, and we want a better life for our people. We want a better destiny for Belarus. That's why I know that we have full support from 3 candidates. Of course, I'm sure that Maria, she had a chance probably later on to talk to Viktor, at least through his lawyer, and the same about Svetlana. I know that he took a decision by herself to get united, and I know that only after 1 or 2 weeks she got the chance to talk to her husband through the lawyer, and I know that he supported. And in general, of course, my husband and I'm sure that Sergei and Viktor, they're very, very proud of us. And at least for not giving up.
Not giving up, that's interesting. Because have you been on a point where you thought, I have no motivation, no strength anymore because it gets so hard to fight?
My husband, he had to leave the country. He had to leave Belarus at the end of July together with my 2 sons, because we faced the situation when the law enforcement agencies came to the school of my kid, and they started to collect the information about us as a parents, because we knew that the next step would be, they were trying to take away our kids, to put them into the custody of the government custody or something. That's why my husband, he had to leave Belarus. He took the kids, and in some sense, I felt myself very free, because the same Svetlana did the same. She sent her kids to Lithuania in the beginning of July, I believe, in the first days of July, and I sent my family outside of Belarus at the end of July, and I felt very relieved, because in some sort I was very free, and I never thought of giving up this fight, because I love my country so much, and I really sincerely want changes to happen in Belarus. That's why I never thought, I didn't have a single thought to give up on this race.
You also had to leave the country. You're in Latvia right now. How do you remain, how do you keep contact with Svetlana, or do you have also contact with Maria?
Yes, I had to leave the country. I left the country on the day of election, because I did not see my kids for some time, and I wanted to spend this day, this historical day, because I'm sure it was a historical day for Belarus, together with my kids. I wanted them to witness the elections, which they should remember for the rest of their lives. And the reason why I left, because as I said before, we are facing criminal charges. My husband, he's facing criminal charges, and I know that I would end up at the prison in Belarus like Maria did. Maria, she's a hero. She's a hero for me. She's a hero for all the Belarusians. What she did, her strength and her courage. But at the same time, I decided to leave Belarus because I believe I can do more right now, being free, being not in the prison, because what Lukashenko does here puts a lot of pressure on the people who are in the prison. He says a lot of bad things and bad words about the people who are in the prison, and these people are not able even to answer him back. That's why I decided that I can do more for Belarus. I can do more for the freedom of these people being free, being outside of Belarus. So I left Belarus. We reside now in Latvia. The reason we decided to reside in Latvia because we share the same border with Belarus and we want to be close to our home country. And as I said, I joke every day, like first of all, for the first 4 months, I did not even unpack my luggage, my suitcase, because I believed that I was going to back home every day, next day, like I thought every day I would go to bed and I thought, okay, tomorrow I'm going back to Belarus because we are going to win. There is no chance for us not to win. And for 4 months, really, literally, I did not unpack my luggage. I did not unpack my things. But now, yes, we reside in Latvia. Svetlana, she resides in Lithuania. She has her office. She has very competent people around her team. And she works mostly on the political agenda. And I decided for myself as the next logical step, because I'm a woman, first of all, and the second of all, because Maria, my friend, she was put in a prison, and she has been in the prison since September 7, 2020. By the way, she was arrested on my birthday. It was my birthday, and it was for me it was very, very painful. The first thing which I learned on my birthday, that Maria was arrested. It hurt me a lot. So basically, I decided to establish the foundation, the Belarusian Women's Foundation, while I'm in Latvia. And I believe that I can do more for political detainees, female political detainees, by working hard with international community, by putting a lot of pressure on the regime, by talking the stories of the women who are not able to share their stories by themselves. So I do everything. I didn't give up. I didn't stop. I continue to work on the political agenda of Belarus, on the women's agenda of Belarus. And I believe I have no right to give up until even one person, until even a single woman stays in the prison for political reasons.
Do you think that you three will be one time reunited, like on a political stage, or being back in Belarus, in a free Belarus?
I don't know if we are going to be reunited, because we believe once Lukashenko regime falls down, the new presidential elections will be immediately announced. And I think Viktor Babarika is going to run for the president. My husband, Veronika Tsepkalo, he's going to run for the president. Probably Sergei Tichanowskaja, he's going to run for the president. Probably many other candidates, bright candidates, young candidates are going to run for the president if they have an agenda how to transform our country into a European, modern, safe country. So I think there will be very new faces on the political arena of Belarus. And I cannot guess. I really miss Maria, I really miss Svetlana, I really miss our female team, our female trio, because it was one of the best times in my entire life. I don't know what to happen in the future, but I fight for the present, and I will fight for the future for our women in Belarus.
Now, almost one year after the campaign started, do you think that there's a real chance for change?
I'm confident there is a chance for change, because you cannot rule the country where only 10% of the, even less, 10% population at its maximum, 10% of the population supports you, because the entire Belarusian nation was witnessed what Lukashenko does to the civilians. He promised if 100,000 people were out on the streets, he will give up the power. We arranged 300,000 people in Minsk. which were out on the streets, and 1 million people were out of the streets protesting against these fraudulent elections. And still Lukashenko doesn't give up his power. He doesn't care about Belarus people. He doesn't care about the future of Belarus. He doesn't care how many people will leave the country. And now very high professional people are leaving the country, because if you are smart, if you are educated, if you are intelligent, you cannot stay in the country where you don't know what is going to happen to you or your family today or tomorrow or in the evening. You go out to the shop, to the store to buy some bread or milk, and you get arrested only because somebody wants you to get, they to want you to be in the prison. So now we are losing a lot of very talented, very intelligent, very educated people. And Lukashenko doesn't care. Even if he loses 50% of the population, he doesn't care. All he cares about is his power, to stay in the power. All he cares about to have his so-called place, to have his palaces, very expensive cars, private jets, etc. That's why I know that he doesn't have any support in Belarus. After what happened, after what is still happening in Belarus, when the people get real prison terms only for putting the national flag of Belarus on their balcony. Can you imagine? You are sentenced to 2 years in the prison only because you just put the flag, because they call it Nazi. He calls it the Nazi flags. We don't know why he does it. So he doesn't have any support inside of Belarus, and he doesn't have any support on the international arena. And that's why we appreciate the European Union countries for not recognizing him as a legitimate president. The only support which he still has is the support from the Russian Federation, but we still hope that one day the Russian Federation will stop financing Lukashenko and financing his, toys, so-called toys. So it's a matter of time. I don't know.
Do you think that the international community and the European Union is supporting the opposition enough?
I cannot talk about the opposition, all opposition. I can only talk about our family on behalf. I can only speak on behalf of my family. So far, we did not receive any support not from the European Union, not from the United States of America. Not a single penny was spent. We only count or rely on ourselves. Thanks God, my husband, he still has the international consultancy. Before the elections, he did international consultancy. But as I said, I can only speak on behalf of ourselves. If we talk about ourselves, we received zero support. We just received the support in regards of the paperwork, documents, because we have visa, we can stay safely in the country, legally in the country, but no other support was received.
You told that you're active, or you founded a foundation supporting women from Belarus and in Belarus. So how organizations can support your foundation?
Well, actually, yes, you're correct. As I said, we established the foundation, Belarus Women's Foundation, which was registered in the European Union under the law of the European Union. The foundation consists of the volunteers now. It's Belarus people who left Belarus. Some of them, they left many years ago Belarus. Some of them left recently Belarus. We have some people in our foundations who never had any connections to Belarus, but really who supports Belarus, the citizens of different nationalities, different countries, from the Great Britain, from Austria, from Germany, from Sweden, from Italy, etc. So we are running a lot of projects inside of the Belarus Women's Foundation, but once again, all of these people are purely volunteering. I'm happy for the girls who have their jobs in their countries. At least they can afford to do a volunteering job. But most of the women, they do not have any support, any job in the country, because they, like us, like our family, they had to leave Belarus. So we developed several projects one of the latest project, we made a movie. It calls "I'm a Political Prisoner," because in Belarus so far there are 43 female political prisoners, and we told the story of these girls who is unable to share their stories because they are in prison. So we made a 40-minute movie talking about these ladies, talking about these stories, because some of the stories are horrifying. Women with 5 kids, women with 4 kids. They were put in the prison only because they were participating in taking part in the peaceful protests. Some women were heavily beaten up. Some women were, the women are kept in the unacceptable and sanitary conditions. The women are tortured, the regime gives an order to put a woman in a special cell where you're not able to sit down or lay down, you're only able to stand up. And this is kind of torture aimed to break you, because or to stop you from further fight. The women are packed in the cells. Can you imagine? I now collect the stories of the women who got suffered from the regime, and they shared stories with me. When the women are packed in the cell is for 4 people, and there are 38 people in the cell. 38 people instead of 4 people in the cell, and this is despite the very severe COVID situation in the country. And they share the stories when there's tiny girls, tiny women, they have to sleep inside of the couch, because there is no place where you can sleep. And the women do not have the access to the basic hygiene. We're all women, we have our women's days, and you're not able to take a shower. There is no hot water, there is no shampoo, there is no shower gel. You take a shower in your cell, so-called shower, you take a bottle, empty bottle, you put the cold water in the empty bottle, and you try, to wash yourself. And you do not have a shampoo, you cannot have a basic hygiene. The women witness that no medical help is provided. Women, get sick and no medicine is available. So the conditions are horrifying. The conditions, what the regime does to women. I mean, the tortures. When the women, girls told me about the tortures, I was shocked. I was really like, come on, this cannot happen in Belarus. This is my home country. This is Europe. It's the 21st century. How come? 21st century, yes. How come women are being tortured only for fighting for their basic right to choose the person they want to? And this is unacceptable. 8 people were killed in Belarus. 8 people, 8 peaceful people. One was shot, another was just killed by they beat him up to death. The person just went out to the street and asked what's happening. And only because he asked this question, they killed him. And the criminal case was not initiated for 3 months. But at the same time, when you look at the women's stories, I was horrified. I mean, the girl, she took off the mask from the police officer, and she was sentenced to 2 years and 6 months in the prison. 2 years and 6 months in the prison. But at the same time, another person who died, Roman Bondarenko, the 31-year-old guy, he's still free. And he's walking in the streets of Belarus, and he's not punished. I mean, he's completely fine. And this is unacceptable. So we are working on different projects within our Belarusian Women's Foundation. The first is the project. We try to release the political prisoners. We do everything. We work with the international community. We made the movie. We send the letters to international influencers, because we want the entire international community to know what's happening in Belarus. We want them to know what's happening in our prisons, in regards of the violation of the human rights, in regards of the violation of the women's rights. And we don't want international community to forget about Belarus, because I know there are many other events are happening in other countries across the globe, but we are in Europe, and this is 21st century, and this is happening in the neighboring country with the European Union, and this is unacceptable. So we are in a lot of projects. We collect the stories of the women who got suffered from the regime, the women who went through the prisons, who went through the tortures, rapings, beatings up, because we want to want to make sure that this kind of crimes has been documented And in the future, we're going to use it in the trial because we all understand that Lukashenko has to be sent to the trial.
But Veronika, what will be the day after? One day, the society of Belarus has to reconcile. So also or not, this is the question. So what to do the day after with the people who were beating women, torturing, putting innocent people to jail?
That's why, as I said, that's why we need to be vocal. We need so that the entire world knows what's happening in Belarus. This is number one. These women, they need help, they need support. In most cases, this is psychological support, because when you go through, like tortures, when you go through rapings or beatings or humiliations, many women, when they recall their stories, even now after 7 months, they burst into the tears because they just remember what happened to them. It's painful. It's killing painful. Some of the women, they need lawyers, but we all understand. We realize that our issue, our problem, will be solved when Lukashenko is gone. It's not going to be easy for Belarus because when Lukashenko is gone, the economy, the entire country will be very, in a very bad shape. The country in a quite bad shape right now, but after he leaves, it's going to be much worse. And we are ready to suffer in quite for another 2, 3, 4 years to recover our country. But now we need to fight for the future of our country. We need to fight for ourselves. We need to fight for our kids. And we need to fight for the people, for the women who are in prison now, this minute.
But do you think the victims will be once able to forgive and to reconcile?
I think you need to talk to the victims in this case. But first of all, as I said, we believe that the old people who was in charge with these crimes, who was in charge with the beatings, who was in charge in these crimes, they need to be, sent to court, and then the court is going to decide what kind of, punishment these people has to bring.
So, 2 questions at the very end. Veronika, what do you miss about Belarus the most?
I'm going to cry now. I miss home. This is my home. I still have my family back in Belarus. My mother, she was buried in Belarus, so I cannot even visit her grave. I miss my friends. I miss my house. I miss my life. I miss my country. I miss our people. This is the biggest asset Belarus has, our people. The people who never give up.
People who never give up. That's almost a beautiful ending. And freedom? What's freedom for you?
For me, freedom when you live a life without any fear. When you wake up in the morning and you have no fear that today you will not come back home. I want to live a life when I know my kids will be safe. I want to live a life in a country where I know that you do not get to the prison only because you have alternative point of view, only because you have a different point of view. I want to live in a country where people are wealthy, where people have, decent salaries, where the people have decent level of life. Because, our history demonstrated that Belarus, we suffered most than other countries and even post-Soviet Union. And still we are suffering. And that's why we should never give up. We should continue our fight for our future, for the future of our country, for ourselves and our children.
This is all what I can wish you personally, and of course to all Belarusians, that the freedom, how you described it, will come soon. Thank you so much, Veronika, for your openness, for your time, for your strength, for your inspiring words, because I think for so many, not only women in Europe, you're an incredible example how to how to see the right moment in life and to stand up for in this very difficult time. So thank you so much, and I wish you all the best, and also all the best to all your volunteers for your foundation, and I hope to see you one day in real life, not only via this online talk. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Colin. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Живе Беларусь. Long live Belarus.